Well, let me take you now to Parliament, where dramatic events are happening. Alexander Afenyo-Markin, the minority leader, is addressing the House.
We are all aware of the UK Parliament, and we watch the US Congress. Mr. Speaker, it is not out of place, particularly in the UK Parliament, for the opposition leader in Parliament to use the dispatch box for her submissions. Mr. Speaker, it is done. I do not see all this hula baloo about dispatch box. I conclude by saying that if members on the majority side are saying that, well, they find it quite strange to have the dispatch box. So today, Mr. Speaker, they say it won't happen, they won't allow. As though they have the power to allow or disallow. But they've said it for the records, that they will not allow. And I believe that it is that insistent pressure that gave rise for you to suspend so that we go. Mr. Speaker, they were mentioning Order 115. I've read 115 as well. Nowhere in that 115 is talking about a specific issue to say that when it comes to question. Mr. Speaker, we have to be very clear. Mr. Speaker, maybe I would want to read the 115. It talks about subject to the discretion of the Speaker, and Order 1693B. A member who intends to speak shall rise in the member's place and address the chair while standing only after catching the eye of the Speaker. So what that even means is that, Mr. Speaker, there is a discretion. There is a discretional provision there where even the Speaker can allow a member to speak from a place other than his place. That is why that proviso is there. Mr. Speaker, why then will a member, after you've allowed me to proceed to ask my questions, rise to say that he is challenging the discretion you've exercised? Because obviously you had granted me the opportunity to ask a question. And even if we are going by 115, the issue of discretion comes to play. Meaning that if the Speaker allows, and in this case, it is the leader who is asking his question. So if the Speaker says that instead of B, the man prefers to use a dispatch box, why would a member rise and say that it cannot be done? Which particular order? What is the order that he relied upon, which expressly say that when you are asking a question, it must only be at your place? There's nothing like that in the rules book. Mr. Speaker, I leave it to you, because whatever ruling you give would be for the records and for posterity. I so submit.
Thank you very, very much. Majority Leader, you indicated you've raised your point. Is there any issue you want to respond to?
Mr. Speaker, I just want to clarify that I know you, and I know you are not a person who can be intimidated by anybody on either side of the House. Mr. Speaker, I'm not the first person or the first leader to defy you and say, I will not accept. Just last week, when I read the business statement, they asked questions, and it was getting elongated and time-wasting. You ruled that business statement period should end, and we should proceed to commence public business. He led his side. They defied all the rules of this house. They stood, they stamped their feet, they made noise, and made it impossible for you to run this house until you change your decision and allow them to continue asking questions. He did that. He did that. Today, he thinks that by me also saying that I will not allow that to happen, I am intimidating you, or I am setting the agenda. I've made it very clear, Mr. Speaker. Let him get up and tell us whether for the whole period that he was here, he saw any leader go there and ask questions. Mr. Speaker.
We listen to Afenyo in silence.
So, Mr. Speaker, my position hasn't changed. I'm saying that this, you see, when he is acting on behalf of his caucus, when you are acting on behalf of your caucus, and we all see it, it happens every day. When, for instance, the budget is presented, and all of you debate the budget, and it's a turn of leaders to go and sum up the debate and advance the cause of their sides. I've been in this house, and every budget that has been presented, the leaders go to the dispatch box to sum up the arguments of their sides. The same way I've been in this house and I've seen.
Honourable members, can we have some order? Let's listen to each other in silence. After him, if you have a submission to make, just rise on your feet. I will recognize you.
Anytime the state of the nation is presented to this house and we vote on the motion to thank the president, at the conclusion of the debate, both leaders go there and then they conclude the debate. I've seen that. 16 years of my life in this chamber. I'm sure 20, 25 years of your life in this chamber. Mr. Speaker, I have been here for long to see that every week, every leader of this house has presented the report on the business of the house from the dispatch box. I have seen that. But as for every leader, the minority leader walking there every day to ask his questions, I have not seen it before. I haven't seen it before. And it won't start when I am leader in this house. It won't start. So please, if you are acting on behalf of your caucus, you go there. If you are asking a question as you, Honorable Afenyo-Markin, asking a question as any other ordinary member of this house, you will stand there and ask the question, because even I, when I'm asking a question, I will stand here and ask the question.
Yes. Before coming to you, Honorable Nitiwood, you've been a leader in this house before. Do you have a position on this issue? I will come to you. No, sometimes some members may not be aware. When I came to this house in 2013, he was a deputy leader.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know why I'm doing drawing to this, but I want to say that I don't know why I'm being drawn to this. I'm sitting myself and minding my business. And then suddenly I'm being drawn into this thing. But Mr. Speaker, I think that we shouldn't be too hard on ourselves. Parliament is a mass of its own. We should be flexible in dealing with ourselves. Otherwise, if we are rigid in dealing with ourselves, tomorrow we'll rue it. we'll have serious problems in this house. Because I have examples of Judge Mensah always addressing here, but during my time I didn't. Neither the Chief Mensah was my boss. We didn't do that. So if you are a member of parliament, especially from 2000, you may not see people addressing. But Judge Mensah in court time, he usually took a certain posture that he wanted a certain atmosphere about leadership. And because of that, he almost always tried to address Parliament through the box. So it depends on how we in Parliament here we want to carry ourselves going forward. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that we should not be too hard on ourselves. I came in 2002, and I came and met him. So he will know better. He said that he will know better. But Mr. Speaker,
I've heard you. I've heard you.
But Mr. Speaker, as I said, Mr. Speaker, as I said, we should not be too hard. We should not be too hard on ourselves. And like I said, if you ever watch Judge Mensah's time from '96 when he was minority leader, he almost always addressed Parliament from here.
Yes, that one.
And so that precedence is there.
Yes.
So it is not true that no, it's not been done. It's been done. But others decide that they will not do it. And so it doesn't mean that people are not doing it. So, Mr. Speaker, that is what I have to say about this. Thank you.
Very well. We've seen Judge Mensah addressing, but we'll have to make some distinction between addressing and asking questions. Yes, I will come to you, Minority Whip. Yes, let me hear from
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
the most senior.
Mr. Speaker, leaders of this House have made several interventions whenever there is a debate. And they have made their interventions from where they sit. Except when there's conclusion of the debate on the State of the Nation address, or the conclusion of the debate on a budget. For leaders to use the dispatch for questions at the end of 2028, I would have been here for 32 years. I haven't seen one. Judge Mensah, from 1997, never used the dispatch box to ask questions. He never did. And therefore, if leaders want to say that they always want to use the dispatch box, what it means is that Mr. Speaker, if the minority leader wants to use the dispatch box to ask questions, what it means, in other words, is that any intervention he wants to make, he will use the dispatch box. And it will be reducing the value of the use of the dispatch box. And therefore, this is a simple matter that I don't see any need for the minority leader to litigate over, particularly on the day he is mourning.
You are mourning and you are litigating.
I thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minority Chief Whip.
Can I? Speaker, I think the matters have been dealt with largely, but just to make this point strong, at the risk of being repetitive, Speaker, if you read 88 and 115, the combined effect, the effect of it is that there's no direct provision that says that you should rise at your place and ask your question. There is none. Now, we as a parliament, we also need to be progressive. Now, if you read these new standing orders, there are provisions in the standing order that seek to cure difficulties that we've been encountering over the years. For instance, there's an explicit provision for winnowing. We didn't have anything like that. There is an express provision under 93(8) that gives a mandate to the clerk of parliament to make copies of an admitted statement available to members. We didn't have this. Now, Leader, you made a profound statement that I think I want to remind you, maybe refresh your memory. And I'm such a person that when you are speaking, I pay good attention. You made the point that we defied the speaker the other time, and we insisted on our way. Speaker, Leader, these were your statement. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said, and I'm quoting you, when your father makes a mistake in the market, you don't embarrass him openly. And I said to ask, what was the meaning of that? You said that in a certain context. You made that statement in a certain context. And the meaning was so clear to me that something went wrong on that day, and you were just diplomatic. So if we had insisted on our right, it was not a manner to defy the speaker, but it was just to ensure that the right thing is being done. Leader, with respect to you, I want to ask you one question. It's rhetorical.
Honorable Minority Leader.
Speaker, I address you.
The rules are clear as to how a question can be asked a member.
Speaker, I was supposed.
You can ask a member a question,
Speaker,
but the rules are clear.
The road minister keeps threatening me with his gaze.
And he has no money to pay contractors.
And he has left his ministry always in the chamber. Contractors are looking for him. Anyway, I have not invited you to the argument. So you got the points which the leader made are found profound. Ministers who are not members of parliament, they come here and they use the dispatch. Ministers. Now, leader, when you say that when the minority leader is acting on behalf of the caucus, then he is permitted to use the dispatch board. There's a thin line between acting on behalf of the caucus and also acting as a representative. Now, leader, you are not listening, so listen to me. So there are some members on the majority side who are here. I don't want to mention any names. And so you need to be paying attention to members of the majority who are sitting at this side of the house. So when you are insisting that, so let me conclude. When the leader is insisting that, when the minority leader is acting on behalf of the caucus, then he is permitted to use the dispatch box. I humbly want to find out from our respected leader, can he reference the orders to justify his claim? He cannot. He cannot, leader. Leader, you cannot.
Well, then I'm getting clarity. Can you also reference an order that says that when you are going to ask a question as a minority leader, you must use the dispatch box?
Speaker, the interpretation of the orders is in your motion.
Very well, very well.
I'm saying,
very well.
To the extent that there is no express provision, then one cannot. The point of the minority leader is that because there is no express provision, the majority leader cannot so moto decide for the House.
So, very well. Honourable members.
Especially when he says that the side will not allow.
Honourable members.
That's a show of an aggression. And we should not be entertaining that.
Honourable members, I think I have adequately listened to both sides of the House. Honourable members, Honourable Nitiwood, with all due respect, I intend not to give you the floor again. I have given you the opportunity to speak on the issue. Honourable Roxon, Honourable Chief Whip, please resume your seat. Honourable Chief Whip, Honourable Chief Whip. Honorable members, reference has been made to two provisions in our standing orders. First is Standing Order 115, which reads, subject to the discretion of the Speaker, and Order 1693B, a member who intends to speak shall rise in the member's place and address the chair while standing only after catching the eye of the Speaker. Here, there is an expression relating to the discretion of the Speaker and a member rising at his place to address the chair. Exception has been made to this rule by the proviso to Order 1693B. What then is Order 1693B is saying? Our members, let's look at Order 169 together. B states, a member may sit at any seat convenient for the purpose of participating in the consideration stage, which means that regarding 115, the only way you will choose to sit at your convenience is when we are at the consideration stage of a bill. Honourable members, it is clear that the practice is you rise at your place to catch the eye of the Speaker, except when we are at the consideration stage of a bill. Now, Order 88, 1 states, at question time, the Speaker shall call successively each member in whose name a question stands on the order paper. 2, the member called shall rise and ask the question that stands in the name of the member on the order paper. Reference is made to 88.2, which I will take again. The member called shall rise and ask the question that stands in the name of the member on the order paper. Honourable members, this provision is not saying that the member called should rise and move to the dispatch box. It states clearly that the member called shall rise and ask a question that stands in the name of the member on the order paper. Honourable members, if you interpret this particular order to mean that you can have the right to use the dispatch box as argued, then it means that any member who has a question to ask, when the member is called upon to ask the question, that member has a right to move to the dispatch box to ask the question. Honourable members, I do not think that is the intent of the rules. I owe fidelity to the law. I cannot interpret this particular provision to mean if a member is called upon to ask the question, you won't rise at your place to ask the question, but you have to move to ask the question. Honourable members, let's get the distinction clear. When a leader of the House is making a ceremonial speech. The ceremonial speech, he's making it in his capacity as the leader of the House. If a leader of the House is concluding a debate, the conclusion of the debate is on behalf of the entire House. It may be a state of the nation, debate on the state of the nation, or a debate of the budget. You are doing that on behalf of the House. Therefore, if you file a question as a member of Parliament representing a good people of Akachi South constituency, though I am a Speaker of Parliament, I'll have to rise at my place to ask the question, because I am not acting as in my capacity as the Speaker, but I'm acting in my capacity as the representative of the people. Honourable members, Standing Order 5 is very clear, if I may read. 5.1. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution and any other enactment, where there is doubt, this order shall be interpreted by Mr. Speaker. 2. In any case not provided for in these orders, Mr. Speaker shall decide on a procedural question. 3. In exercising the power conferred under this order, Mr. Speaker shall act in accordance with the Constitution. Having taken the totality of the circumstances into consideration, my rule is that any member who is acting in his representative capacity, but not in a capacity of the caucus, would have to rise at the member's place. If it is question, you ask the question. If it is debate, you do your debate. Accordingly, I rule that minority leader would have to rise at his place and ask the question. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to rule on the issue. So, minority leader, you have the floor. Question numbered 6A.
Mr. Speaker, let me say to you that as a Democrat, my job is to respect this new precedence by you for the guidance of the House. We act not for today, but for tomorrow. Therefore, if that is the pleasure of the Speaker, so be it. What is ahead of us is unknown. So this is good to guide the unknown. I thank you. Mr. Speaker, that said, I proceed to ask the Minister of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry what progress has been made in the development of a comprehensive national agro-industry policy, and how the ministry intends to ensure that this policy translates into value addition, improved market access, and export-led growth for Ghana's agricultural sector.
Live scenes there from Parliament, where the Speaker has ruled against the minorities leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin's attempt to use the dispatch box to ask a question. When he attempted to do that on the floor, the majority resisted that, and it became a whole debate on the floor as to whether or not you are to rise to ask a question. And the Speaker has ruled against that you cannot use the dispatch box to ask a question. Those are live visuals from Parliament. Well, that's how we wrap up the polls today. It's been an exciting run with you. I've been doing this for the past 2 hours. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your company. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Good afternoon.